Hello, chat. We are 3 minutes and 15 seconds away from State of the Game 160. I've got Nikki and Yannick on the line, and we are going to see if Yannick finally blinks today. We don't know. Look, you'll have to watch closely. Stay tuned.
Saving that for the end.
Yeah, I'll blink just at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest headline. Kotaku says Yannick finally blinks.
But
Yannick got a cam.
We still won't know if I'm actually wearing pants. So.
No, that is true. No, we need to do a bit more work to get Yannick a webcam. It'll happen, but you know, for now, professional headshots is just the way to go. But yeah, you got, me and Nikki have webcams, so that's the thing. Anyway, we'll be back in 2 minutes 20, and we'll hang out and talk about the division because that's fun. All right, see you in a sec. Hello everyone, welcome to State of the Game 160. My name's Hamish, and today we're obviously still working from home. We're going to be doing this for a while, I would imagine. But I do have Yannick and Nikki on the line, and I hope everything is going smoothly today. Yannick, Nikki.
Yes.
Come in. Oh, we can hear you.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
I think you blinked. I think you did it.
Oh, I missed it.
It was my first blink, and as I said, I'll save one for the end.
All right.
I decided to just blink twice in this state of the game.
Fantastic. Right. Apparently I need to close Teams because people are still pinging me on there. But, well, almost spoils. Sorry about that. Yes, so today we are talking about everything that's going on in the division. Obviously, we talked about previously TU10 is coming up. TU 9.1 has just come out. There was a maintenance performed yesterday. There were no player-facing changes, so everything was server-side there. It's just so we can make the servers run smoothly. Apparently there have been Delta issues in the raids. Yannick, can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, it's still something we are looking at. It's a high priority for us because we want to make sure that you can play the raid without getting any disconnections. But at the moment, it's been a bit challenging to actually find the root of that issue. So that's something that's still under investigation. We are not giving up hope, we will manage to handle it.
Okay. And the Foxtrot errors that were apparently improved with 9.1, I've seen reports that people are getting less of those. Are you still getting any of reports of those, Yannick, coming through?
I mean, not so much lately. So that's something, if you're still experiencing it, please do let us know. Please reach out on wherever, every platform you can, because so far we've seen a decrease. We've made some changes with 9.1 to that should have improved. So just let us know if you're still experiencing it.
Okay. All right. And how involved are you with the hit registration issues as well? Are you taking... I know that we've been getting videos from the community and those have been really helpful, but we're still looking for more information on that, right?
Yeah, I think the main issue or the main thing that we need for hit registration is that videos are helpful, but ideally what we want to do is be able to look at the actual game logs when those issues happen. So if you send us a video, ideally what would be great is if you can tell us when that happened. If you remember the time, like the date and the time, even if it's roughly, but the more precise, the better. If you can remember the time and give us that information, that allows us to then go check the exact log at that moment on your account and see if we can identify something off there. Because otherwise, we need to look at the log for the whole day, and then it's very hard to pinpoint when did that actually happen.
Yep, perfect. All right. The other thing I wanted to get to before we get into talking about the content that's coming up in TU10 is people will have seen online, maybe, because there's been a lot of conversation going on that I've been looked into about Ubisoft's updated terms of use, company-wide stuff. It seems pretty broad. It probably applies to different games in different ways. Yannick, have you been across that conversation at all?
So I mean, we've started the conversation now. Surprise, but it's as you said, it's a Ubisoft wide thing. So those terms of use are supposed to try to cover, cases for all the games, which is tough when you're going from Just Dance to The Division and, including all the things in between. So what's important is that definitely there are some lines and some entries there that are just not compatible with our game. And I've seen a lot of people reacting to something about boosting of our characters or playing with lower level players and helping them progress. This is not a breach of our code of conduct on The Division. We encourage people playing with lower levels. We have a whole feature that is the Shepherd feature that is for that. So we are not going to take any actions against players who do that. That's really not our philosophy. And same goes when it comes to cheaters and people that are grouping with cheaters. If you matchmake and you end up playing with a cheater, we are not going to come after you. We're coming after the cheaters. We're coming after the people that are on purpose breaking the game. But if you accidentally benefit from it because you matchmade with someone without knowing that they were cheating or exploiting, you're safe. We're not going to come after you. So these are rules that I can understand are worrying, and I think we, as a dev team, we need to then talk with with the people that put that together to see how do we handle the fact that there are rules there that are actually in contradiction with what our game does, because we need to be very clear for everyone on what is allowed and what is not. What I would say is that we have a code of conduct for The Division 2 that is available on the forums. Ideally, if someone could link it, that'd be great. So I would say the best is to refer to the code of conduct. We haven't updated it because so far we're not changing our rules. So start by reading that. And then if anything comes in conflict between the terms of service and the code of conduct, please do let us know. And maybe we need to clearly state in the code of conduct what is different with the terms of service.
Yeah, one of the conversations that I have seen pop up about this is how it pertains to content creators, and I know some people are asking about that in chat. I want more information on this myself, and I think we need to clarify exactly what it would mean for content creators as well. Like you mentioned before, it's very different for a game like Just Dance when it comes to licensing of music and that sort of thing.
Yes.
For us, I wouldn't imagine there will be any changes for Division content creators, but I don't want anyone to feel misled.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of get that information.
Yeah, and that's not going to be covered in the code of conduct, obviously, because the code of conduct, and we focus mostly on what happens in the game. Everything that happens outside of the game is kind of like not necessarily the area that where we take disciplinary actions or where we are involved, and it's a bit more of a corporate thing. So I can't really tell you or comment on any of the content creation part, because that's really not our area here for the team. But at least for everything that happens in the game, the code of conduct still takes priority, and this is what you should be referring to.
Yep. Cool. As soon as we get any more information that pertains to the division and division players and content creators more specifically, we'll let you know. But I want to get into TU10 stuff, and I did get a message from Chris just before this stream, so fresh news from half an hour ago. The PTS is starting on Friday. Am I correct, Yannick?
Yes, that is correct.
Cool. So
yes,
a couple of days until the PTS starts. I love the PTS. I know it's I think you like it too, Yannick. I can't tell from your reaction and your facial expression, but
just my smile.
You look like you hate the PTS, man.
Look like I hate everything on that picture.
No, from memory, I mean, we used to work more closely together, but it was always, I have fond memories of us enjoying PTS times. It's good stuff.
It's just, it's something we believe in, and I know that we haven't done it for some of our latest updates, and we've been criticized for it, rightfully, to be honest. I think it showed in the results of our updates that we were not necessarily where we would have wanted to be, and I think a PTS would have helped. So it's just a lesson. It's just a lesson for us that we shouldn't underestimate the value of that, and it's very important for us to bring it back. No, I just really hope, now that we make it available on Friday, I really hope that we're going to get a lot of people logging in and giving us as much feedback as possible. And I think that's the most important message with the PTS, is that it's cool to go there just to try things out and see if you like it or whatever. But the real value for us is then when you come back to us and give us feedback on what you're playing, because we need to hear from you and know what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't, and all of those. And that's the best way to make the PTS as useful as possible, is to really generate the biggest amount of feedback that you can.
Cool. Just so people know the details on that, the preload will be available tomorrow, Thursday, at 6 o'clock CEST. So 25 hours from now, or 24 hours and 51 minutes from now, that will be available for people. If you own the game on PC, you'll be able to get it through Uplay, and the servers will open at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon, CEST as well. So 45 hours from now.
And that's PC only, yes.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot.
In chat,
yeah. So I have some talking points in front of me here, Yannick, but I want to see how many of them you get right. And also Nikki, actually. No, let's throw it to Nikki, because you've been working on TU10, right?
I have, yeah.
Do you feel comfortable talking about it in a general sense, or do you just want to get into your specifics? Because we could have Yannick do the general TU10 focus, if that makes more sense.
I'm happy to let Yannick do the general stuff, because I have a pretty long list of more detailed stuff, so we can get to that later.
Okay. I mean, I'm here to go through all of that. I love long patch note streams. Those are my favorites. So Yannick, from a top level, what's the focus of TU10?
Well, what we want to do with TU10 is we want to continue with what we've set off to do already with some of our latest updates, which is kind of addressing a lot of the changes we've done with TU8. With TU8, we've created a whole new end game, and we made a lot of changes to the gear game, to the difficulty, to the player power, and all those changes. We're pretty happy with how they've kind of like shuffled everything around, but therefore. We've had a lot of feedback and a lot of realization on our side as well playing the game that, there's a lot of things that are not as fun anymore as they used to be, or a lot of things that don't necessarily work the way we would want them to. So we've started, we set off already with TU9 and TU9.1 to try to address that. And TU10 is really yet another pass on that, but a larger pass, which is basically focused on two main things for us. Which are, on one hand, it's I would say the quality in general. So we have a big bug fixing pass that's coming with TU10. So we're going to be fixing a lot of bugs. The team has been really hard at work here to try to fix as many things as possible, gather as much knowledge as possible, as many reports as possible from the community, and then try to fix everything we can. And then it's the balancing, and with the spirit of, we've used the term a lot internally of generosity, and it's really just the spirit of try to bring back the generosity and the fun in the game, and make sure that fun prevails over anything else. So that's really trying to look at all the aspects in terms of player power, rewards, and all these kind of things, to make sure that every minute you play, you're having fun, and you feel like the time you invest is worth it, and you're being rewarded properly for everything you do. So these are really the main aspects, and that of course affects everything. It affects the balancing, it affects the gear, it affects the weapons, the gear sets, all of that, the rewards that Nikki will be talking at length about, some of the the way we handle mission difficulty and difficulty scaling, and plenty of things like that. There are also, of course, some changes that are coming with PvP as well, and we don't want to ignore the PvP community, so that also includes PvP, and we're doing some tweaks and balancing changes there to try to address some of the main pain points with PvP. So it's a general fun pass, if I can say, on everything around the game. So it's pretty meaty. There's a lot of changes, a lot of balancing, and especially for all the number-loving players and the theory crafters, you're going to see a lot of tweaks here and there, a lot of number changing, and small, very detailed balancing. So I think it's really exciting, because it should be, it should take all the changes we've done in the previous updates and connect everything in a way that makes sense and creates the experience that we've intended from the get-go with the game. That's really where we want to land.
Nice. Well, it all sounds great, but I want some specifics. Nikki, can we drill down into some
If I can just before, I just want to comment on something I see in chat.
Okay.
From Xander Bose saying, but challenge is fun, and this, when I say the game needs to be fun, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying it needs to be easier. Really not, and that's really not our intention, to make everything easier and remove the difficulty. We're pretty happy with the fact that there is some difficulty in the game. What we want to remove is the frustration. Of things feeling unfair, feeling like even if you have the right gear, even if you know what's going on the battlefield in front of you, you might still die because there's an explosion that happens that you couldn't do anything about, or because a bug happened, or all these kind of things. So it's all this unfairness. It's really the sense of control and the sense of power of your agent that we want to bring back. But it's really not about dumbing the game down and making it too easy. That's really not our intention.
Great. All right. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. All right, Nikki, start at the top of your list and work your way down.
Yeah, I just want to say in general as well, like, we're all super happy that we're doing this PTS, especially because there's so many moving parts and so much changing at the same time, so many levers we're pulling to get to the right experience. So that, of course, makes it more dangerous that not everything gels together. So doing a PTS just makes a lot of sense at this point. So I have like a condensed list of all of the things that I have added to the patch notes for phase 1 of the PTS. And we're still working on other things. So, of course, after phase 1, we will address feedback from that phase. But there's also just stuff still in the works that will not be in phase 1, will be there in the PTS 2, phase 2. So what I have here is just everything is available on PTS 1 starting this Friday. And I think it would be good to start off with exotics.
Oh, yeah.
Because I prepared a little slide that
all right.
Hamish now needs to pull up.
Yeah, so here we go. All right.
Well, yeah. So this is not going to be about their functionality and stuff. That's not really my area. It's about where do you get them, how do you get them, and how powerful are they when you get them in terms of roles and stuff. So I just want to take the opportunity to clarify some things about how you get them, because I get a lot of questions on Twitter, like, do I need to have acquired it from here before I can get it there? And, does it matter if it's on my stash? And and that kind of stuff. So we are making some changes on our end to make things simple, but I think it's already a lot simpler than what some people make it out to be currently. So it's a special episode of Mythbusters regarding exotics availability. So, yeah. So every exotic has its own specific source, right? Like Chameleon comes from bounties, Diamondback is available in Kenley College, and so on. There's specific ones per faction, and then we have some more general sources where they are kind of all in the same loot pool. And currently, the exotics that launched with Warlords is they don't have the general sources. They only have their unique sources currently, and we're going to change that. So that's the first thing that you'll see on PTS. That all of the Warlords exotics are also going into the general sources listed here. So that means that they'll be added to targeted loot. They'll be on the loot drops from the heroic and legendary final bosses. And they are also on the raid bosses in the weekly lockout. And of course, we have the exotic cache now as well with the seasons. So all of the Warlords ones will now also be in those sources. But there are some exceptions, and that's where for some people it got a bit confusing. And I hope adding the Warlords exotics to the general sources is going to help make it a little clearer, because it's kind of more similar for all the exotics now. But as you can see in the notes section, raid exotics and the Bighorn will not be available from the general sources. That's already the case for the raid exotic that we have now, Eagle Bearer. And we decided to not include Bighorn because it's also kind of locked behind a kind of prestige type of content. So that's going to be locked behind Legendary still. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, with the new raid, we have more exotics coming. And slight spoiler, well, I don't think it's a spoiler at this point anymore, but there'll be 2. And the point here with the white arrows, that's the biggest exception here, is the exotics that we created these crafting quests for. We really want you to do those crafting quests instead of like stumbling upon an exotic through one of the general sources. So that's basically the only exception where you need to have completed the crafting quest so that you have unlocked the blueprint. And from there on out, you can also get that particular exotic from the general sources listed here. Mm-hmm. And of course, with the start of seasons, we have 1 season exotic in the current season. Slight spoiler, there will be 2 in season 2. All of these are also available in PTS. We've added all of the gear and everything that's coming in season 2 is just available in PTS. But the unique source for the season exotics is the season rewards track. So you would need to reach a certain level to unlock that exotic. And then from there on out, it's also in the general sources. So we make sure that your first version that you get is always from the season track. And from there on out, you can farm it however you want through the general sources. So that kind of standardizes things for all of the exotics, with the exception of the crafted exotics and the ones currently in the season.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm actually, I didn't know that the season 2 stuff was coming on the PTS, so that's cool. I like that.
It's the season 2 stuff will be available. Even raid 2 stuff will be available, because we really want you to go and try the new gear sets and the new exotics and get feedback on those things, so that we know that when the raid actually launches, that the rewards that you get for those for completing it will be cool and functional. So.
Okay, all right. So the second raid loot pool will be available everywhere? Or?
It's no, we have prepared a special vendor like we usually do with the PTS. So if you go to the vendors in the White House, they will hook you up with some balancing caches, which will give you all of the exotics in the game, both weapons and gear. They will give you all of the gear sets. You can purchase the new brand that we have in season 2. You can purchase the new named items that we have. So basically everything you would get from TU10 on, you can already just pull off the vendor and try out.
Cool. All right. No, that's good. I'm sure we're going to see some cool builds. The thing I wanted to get to, I know we're getting into content and that sort of thing for TU10, but Yannick, I think it's worth reminding that we need really good feedback on the PTS. How can people give that feedback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was muted because I don't trust my microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first, like as Nikki said, there's going to be facilitated ways to actually obtain things on the PTS, because we really want you to go out there, try builds, try things out, and break things as much as possible, and tell us what works, what doesn't, and what you like and what you don't. And then the best way to give feedback from the PTS is the forums. We have PTS forums that are going to be open. And so the best is just to go there, log in, just create your post, try to be as constructive and precise as possible. This usually helps. Try to, if you can, also concentrate the conversations. So if you want to give feedback on a specific point, the best is to usually do a search to see if there's a thread that already exists. Makes it a bit easier for us to get a general visibility on what the community as a whole thinks about things. But yeah, PTS forums.
Cool. Now, Nikki, you said you may have some notes to go through. Is that?
I mean, I'm just ticking off things with my patch notes now, and we've talked about exotics, but I've got some like a segue to.
Great. Ooh. Hey, we lost Nikki. He's dead.
No,
he's gone. He's coming back. Don't worry about it. Here,
my back?
Your audio is back. Your camera will kick in soon, I think. Anyway, the audio is fine.
I can turn the camera back on.
It's coming. All right. We got you. Because I do have in my list here, and I quote, almost all weapons buffed, and there will be a full list available on the patch notes on the PTS. So can we go through some of those PTS patch notes that you may have? All of it's going to be a spoiler to me because I haven't read anything yet. So I'm excited.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, yes. I actually don't have those notes because that's not the part that I have worked on.
Okay. Well, it's good news anyway.
But it's also a lot. Like, if you go through the patch notes, you will see that, all of the weapons have been got a pass, and some of them have, some gear sets have been updated, exotics, and so on. So it's really a lot to go through, especially if just go through the through the patch notes. It's a lot of a percentage here, percentage there. I do know one particular thing is that Bruce has done a quite big pass on weapon handling, the stat weapon handling, which of course has a major impact on all of the shooting gameplay. So we really encourage you to try out your favorite guns and your not so favorite guns to just see how everything feels now.
Yeah, and yes, there is definitely a pretty significant pass on weapons and weapon damage. And here, I think that's it's going to make some people happy, hopefully. But it's we've really tried to go with the approach of in order to address things like time to kill and bullet sponginess and all of that. Instead of just looking at the NPCs, we've also decided to look at the player power and try to boost the players as well. And that translates in, amongst other things, a general increase of weapon power. So you'll see when you look at the patch notes that the vast majority of weapons have actually been buffed. If you look at assault rifles, every single assault rifle is receiving a buff. Same with SMGs, every single SMG is receiving a buff. And then, of course, there's a few nerfs here and there on some of the outliers, but the idea was to try to bring all the weapons up a bit in order to help with player power and people feel a bit more powerful. And that's the same idea with some of the gear changes we've made with the gear sets. A lot of the existing gear sets, we've made some changes to them, not necessarily boosting the stats, but actually gonna try to make a bit more sense out of some of the mechanics and try to streamline them a bit. So in general, triggering their effects is gonna be, for some of them, easier, and the effects are going to be more powerful as well.
Great. I mean, a lot of people are talking about what happens with the M1A. It's one of those things that we always notice when there is an outlier like that and people have a lot of fun with it, is that maybe it's an indication that other weapons need to be more powerful to be fun. So it does highlight some things. Again, Sorry, Yannick, you go.
That was I mean, and that was really one of the discussions we've had. Is the M1A is an indication of like where people find fun. And while the M1A was probably overtuned a bit, yes, there is a nerf of the M1A, not to the extent of the one we had to remove, but it's there's a slight nerf. But the idea was, let's try to bring all the guns up almost to the level where that was, and we bring that one down a bit, so we meet in the middle. But instead of just nerfing the M1A by a ridiculous amount, let's bring everything else up, so we at least try to give some of that fun and that satisfaction of doing more damage and feeling more powerful.
Yeah, feels like a throwback to the G36 that we that we had. Good times. I do have some other points in here. You mentioned the changes to the gear sets and those sorts of things. People will get some more details on those when the patch notes come out. Do you guys happen to know when the patch notes will be out, or is it going to be on Friday with the PTS, or can people expect them beforehand?
I do not. I think the guys are still working on them. I'm thinking. So they might be tweaking them and finalizing them. So if they're not out today, it's probably going to be Friday then.
Yeah. Couple of other interesting points here. Legendary difficulty being more rewarding. I like that.
That's
Nikki, is that something that you can speak to?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So for Legendary in particular now, there's another change coming for PTS Phase 2, but the change that we've done now is just increase the loot drop chance from veterans and elites. Of course, Legendary is a bigger time investment. It's a bigger commitment. It's a higher skill level, and it was the outlier in terms of loot frequency. How much do I even get for playing this? So by increasing the drop chance for veterans and elites, we're kind of addressing that. So you should be walking away with more stuff by completing the Legendary mission now. And we're still looking into for Phase 2 to do a general pass on roles. Distribution across all difficulties, actually. So that's going to be something we can talk about for the next phase.
Right. I also see in here a note that there will be no purple loot in higher difficulties.
Exactly.
Sounds cool.
So the thing that has happened in PTS 1, and we're still working on some other things for later, is we did a pass on control points. So the biggest concerns or the biggest issues with purple loot was that containers didn't scale with their difficulty, and that was mostly notable in stuff that actually feels as a reward for playing on that difficulty, right? So it's all the missions, the containers inside missions, and it's the containers in the control point supply room. So what we did for the control points is we actually removed all of the regular gear and weapon containers so that you don't find those anymore. And we basically put whatever was in there into the big yellow reward crate. But that one, of course, does scale with difficulty. So the amount of drops will pretty much be the same, but now everything will be in that crate and actually scale with the control point alert level. And the mission stuff is something that we're still working on, and we're hoping to get that into Phase 2 of the PTS.
Okay, cool. The other thing I have here, which is a focus for Phase 1 of the PTS, is changes to PvP weapon damage and time to kill. Again, those are the things that we need like swathes of feedback on. So PvP players, please let us know how that feels to you, because I think a lot of it comes down to feel, right? I mean, you'll see the patch notes, and that'll be one thing, but then we need to see a lot of data from people who are in there playing it. That'll be very interesting.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
We do have some other things to talk about today, and I want to move over to what's happening in... Look, Yannick has something to say. Go.
If I can say just on PvP, because I see the question
Please.
regarding time to kill. I mean, the general idea is to increase time to kill in PvP. So we want combat to last a bit longer. So there's a lot of changes, or there's a few changes that are coming in there that are related to damage in general in PvP and then specific weapon categories. But the main philosophy is to increase time to kill.
Great. All right. And again, please let us know how it feels, because that's very, very, very important feedback. Okay. So right now,
Increasing time to kill means the time is longer.
Yes, exactly. The Hill League has gone
Time to
live.
kill, I mean, it takes longer to kill someone.
It's okay.
Just want to be clear because it's not necessarily clear for everyone.
It's okay. I'm just showing some people some pictures of the Hill League stuff, which has gone live and it started yesterday. And if you play it and complete it, there are league challenges to earn 10 rewards, and it'll run for 2 weeks. There also has been some changes to when the season ends. Yannick, what can you tell us about that?
Yes, we are because we are doing a PTS for TU10. That means that we want to extend the season that is actually ongoing on the game right now a bit. So season 1 is going to last for 2 extra weeks, and therefore what that means is that you will have 2 more weeks to complete the manhunt and to make it to level 100 if you haven't yet.
Great. I do want to, because I think I'm one of those people that reset certain parts of the manhunt. I just saw a question on Twitter. Yannick, do you happen to know the answer? You have to, if you do reset it, you have to complete it again before you can access everything, right? Everything needs to be unlocked before you can move on.
Nikki, I think, did you discuss it with Trick today? Because to be honest, I'm not 100% sure of how it actually behaves in the game, so I don't want to say a mistake.
Okay.
I don't want to say mistake either, so we should definitely check with Trick, but I know that he is addressing the situation where it should be accessible while it's not. So
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
that's interesting to know.
But I mean, yeah, what's clear is, we've had some feedback on that, and a lot of people are not satisfied with the way it behaves. So that's something we need to address.
Okay.
So we agree with the feedback in the community here. It's just, I don't want to confirm something without having talked to Trick first, because that's his baby.
Great. In any case, there's 2 extra weeks, so almost 4 weeks from today. So there's a bit of time. Okay. Guys, if you see any questions in chat you want to answer, please bookmark them in your minds, and we'll come back to them after we have a look at some agent highlights, because I really want to take a look at one of the cutest things that I've ever seen from .hack Kyrios in this couple's cosplay with a tactical corgi. It kind of ticks all the boxes. It's I mean, I can't get enough of it. It's 10 out of 10.
Can they actually pet the dog though?
I don't know. There doesn't seem to be an interact prompt.
There's no interact prompt, so
yeah, I think it's unplayable, to be honest. No, but awesome. If you want to see more awesome content, head over and follow ._hack_Kyrios over on Twitter. But seriously, that is probably the best way to use your lockdown time right now, is to make a tactical corgi cosplay. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? We have another one here from Frost Lamzon. More digital painting. I've been seeing more of this in the community, and it's super, super cool. You're all badasses, and it's very, very impressive. Yeah, I can see that they've modeled it on the size of my arms, which is also very flattering. So thanks, that's really nice. But Frost Lamzon over on Twitter, please go over and throw a follow, and you'll see more cool stuff. Yeah. Let me just come back to us. Yannick and Nikki, do you have any things that have popped up that you want to clarify, or?
I don't know. I don't think we have time to go through all of the patch notes that I have left, but maybe I can cherry pick some.
Yeah, if you got some highlights, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of stuff that is happening to loot in terms of named items, increased drop chances, targeted loot, stuff like that. You can read all of those details in the patch notes. But a big thing that we've done is pass on vendors. We did realize that those were not selling the best stuff once you reach level 40. So they were doing a good job while you were leveling up, but not so much in endgame. So what we've done to the vendors is just make sure they no longer sell purples at level 40. We increased the item power of all the items that they're selling for all of the vendors. Cassie was already a little bit higher than the other ones, and she still is, but everyone just got a bump. And we've added named items to all of the vendors. So each vendor will sell a named item that kind of matches the other stock that he has. Like a vendor, for example, has, he can sell an SMG or a shotgun or a pistol, and then he will also pick a named item for the week that kind of matches what the other stuff that he can have. And we did increase the prices a little bit for named items because they were kind of the same as the other items. But it's really, if you've been playing the game, then you should have enough to buy these items. And of course, they're also on the Dark Zone vendors. So hopefully you'll have some use for farming those Dark Zone resources to buy the named items off of the vendors. And those do have the chance to sell the Dark Zone specific named items as well.
Cool. I think that's all positive news. And all of this is on the PTS, right?
Yeah.
Great. What other highlights do you have?
Just getting back to exotic caches and projects. We've added 2 projects, or actually overhauled one type of project and added another one. The one that we've overhauled is the Shade Requisition projects that were kind of left behind in World Tier 5, where you would donate crafting materials for a reward. So we've changed those to weekly projects, and they are also at level 40 now. So everybody should have them. And of course, we've upped the requirements on them because from daily to weekly, but it should be still pretty doable. But I'm very, very happy to hear feedback on that. And that project rewards you an exotic cache for the week. And cool. Another project that will reward you an exotic cache is a legendary mission completion project. So there are 3 possible options. And of course, that corresponds with all the legendary missions that we have now. So you'll have a mission that tells you to finish a specific legendary project for the week. And that will also net you an exotic cache.
Nice.
I do have to say that that project only shows up if you've completed a legendary mission before, because we don't want you to throw yourself at legendary seeing that that reward there. So the reward only becomes available after you've actually done it once, and then it's on a weekly cadence.
I mean, that is legit cool.
One thing that I just want to comment on quickly, because some people have been reacting to the fact that there's more sources for exotics, but therefore the exotics are not necessarily worth it, and not all of them especially. But that's, even though that's not going to be in PTS1, we're also having a pass on exotics with TU10. So expect some changes there as well, and hopefully they're going to be more desirable.
Great. Very cool. Any more highlights, Nikki?
Just one, I think. Okay. We've added the field proficiency cache back to when you've finished the season. So throughout season leveling, you will earn the rewards from the season. But after the season, you would only... So on each level up, it will basically be the same as it was in World Tier 5, where for each level up, you will still get a cache.
Great.
You get the Shade Watch points. And we've added the field proficiency cache back there.
Perfect. Very cool. Lots of good news. Just to reiterate, PTS is coming on Friday. If you own the game on PC, you can go into Uplay and check it out. I don't imagine if you own it through other launchers. Yannick, do you know how it works with the Epic launcher? Doesn't, right? It's Uplay only.
It's on Uplay, yeah.
Great. Just to clarify.
I don't want
people to be...
Yes. I mean, if you own the game on Epic, you will have access to the PTS on Uplay, but you will have to start.
Yeah, you have to do it through Uplay. Yeah. So head over to Uplay, download the PTS client, and you will be very, very appreciated if you give us feedback on the PTS. That'll be awesome.
Yes.
Starting on Friday. So this Friday in, at least 45 and a bit hours. Very, very soon. Okay. Anything else we want to get to?
Some people have been asking how long the PTS will last. That really depends. But so far, we have 2 phases that are planned. We have the first one that starts on Friday, and we're already working on the second phase because we couldn't get all the changes we wanted ready for the first one. So we're planning for 2. And then we'll see, that will be very much depending on the feedback and how many iterations we need for that. But at the moment, we have 2 phases that are planned. That's about 2 weeks for the moment.
Cool. All right. So it's changeable. So we will see. But
it's gonna be
likely to.
that's how it should be. Depending on feedback and how much work is left.
Okay.
Yeah, the duration may change.
All right. Perfect. Okay, I think that's going to cover everything for today, unless I'll give you one last chance to get a final word in. But I'm done. Nicky looks like he's done. Yannick looks like he hates life.
I was raising my hand.
Like waving.
Oh, I thought you were waving goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
The elephant in the room and also a bunch of questions in chat is crafting.
I did see that.
We are looking at crafting. We want to raise both the minimum and maximum outcomes for crafting, but there's some stuff that still needs to happen code-wise. So that's something we're aiming for to have in phase 2.
Because right now there's no possibility of a god roll on crafting, right?
There is a possibility for like one stat to be god rolled, but no, it's currently not possible to get a 3 god rolled item.
Okay.
And of course we want to be more generous with it, but it shouldn't be the slot machine game that negates all of the other content. So we're trying to update how the system works so that we can achieve that balance.
Okay, good to know. All right, well then that will do it for me for today. It looks like Nicky's done. Looks like Yannick hates life, but Yannick, anything else?
Well, people have been asking me to blink, but I think they just missed it. I just blinked.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah, I think they didn't pick it up. So you'll have to wait until next time then.
Fantastic. Yeah, next time, Yannick, blinking confirmed. That's going to do it for us today. Today, I have written myself a note to not forget to post or to show the Division photos. Last time, I completely lost it, and I'm very, very sorry to everyone that was included in it. We did tweet it out afterwards, but yes, my apologies. Today, I will not forget. I promise. And I'm going to do it right now. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to State of the Game 160. PTS on Friday. We'll be back again with another stream, and we'll see you soon. Yannick, wave. Thanks, man. All right, cool. Slacker.
Bye-bye.
All right.
See you, everyone.
All right. See ya.